Righto, back at it again today. It's Tuesday, so it's 4 days since last time. Friday busy, weekend did nothing, yesterday busy, so today I'm back at it. But I've been having a hard time lately sleeping, and just the whole mental health thing's been up the shit. But while I'm laying there in bed, wide awake, I've been thinking, and I thought about this. Now this, I've overcomplicated it. Now I know what I've done ultimately is I've gone and I've bought this. Now I don't need it. I'll explain why. Bought this, don't need it. Bought this, well, it'll be in stock, so it'll get used eventually. This stuff will get used sooner or later. This, it was never going to work. And you know, like, I'm not an engineer, although I am sort of, I like to think that I'm mechanically minded, but I'm not an engineer. This will not work because of the way it is. The problem is going to be is it's going to have problems with it binding when it comes over the top of the arc. It's going to want to push down like that. Okay, so it's going to be a shit of a thing. But I thought, I'm making it overly long because that's not long enough. So the thing's going to be as wide as fuck. It doesn't need to be. What I'm going to do, all I need to do is just put a pivot on that. So then I've got to take that bloody nut off that I put it on there. And I'm going to cut this off here, weld that onto there, and pivot off that. So, like I said, it'll be on the end of that, and as it rotates, it'll be just like a crankshaft with a piston in a ball. So that will slide up and down. It'll sit like that. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to weld on the back just about, I don't know, about 100 mil. So when it's working, so I'm going to get it so it rotates over the top. So as it's pushing forward, it'll be pushing on the back of this, so it'll have, you know, it'll be pushing down that way. So if I put a bit of flat on the back, and I can have it plenty narrow enough then. So what I'm going to do is spend this morning, I'm going to get all this shit off here. I'm going to take all this off, and I'm going to sit this on the bench and then start to rework it. And what I'm going to do before I go any further is start to make a mount for that. I'm going to build the mount for that. Part of it I was going to bolt on the front here. I might still yet, I don't know. But that's what I'm going to sit down and work out. That's going to make things a whole lot simpler and a whole lot more functional. You know, like I said, I never professed to be an engineer, but it's hard to explain to people. You've got to try and understand what it's like inside my head. You know, it's just, I can't. Sometimes I just have trouble functioning normally. Let's just put it that way, okay? So, yeah, I think I'm going to bolt a carriage to the front of this. So, and I'll just knock something up and I'll bring you back shortly. Stay tuned. Oh, the bearings came in too. So there's the bearing, and that's a tap-in fit. I have to tap that in and tap it on. So that's going to be nice. That's not going to go anywhere. And we've got that lip in here that's sitting up against. And I'll put that plate on and do it up. That's not going to go anywhere. Righto, this is what we're up to. Got a fair bit off camera. I'll put those on. They're going to sit on the bottom. So that'll just stop that from doing this. Okay. Yeah, I might even come up with something else. I have another idea. It'll probably run on the outside here, like a key on here and a slot, just to stop the thing wanting to, like when it spins around, it's going to be like you'll need to contain that to stop that. So it'll work like a piston in a cylinder. So what I'm going to try and do now, I think, is cut. That's going to be nice. That's a nice width there. That's, I don't know if you can see that. I've got 100mm flat, and that's just over. No, I can't even see that. It's 100mm, just over. So, I mean, that doesn't matter, I can cut it lengthwise. What is it widthwise? Yeah, it's a bit too wide, 120. But I'll work that out, that's not a problem. I'm going to make the base to bolt on these bottom holes here. And then have it bolt, have the carriage that this is going to run in will bolt onto the front of the gearbox and then bolt to the bottom. I don't know, I'm sort of still trying to work out what I'm going to do with it, but let me think about it for a little while, and I'll sit here, probably stand here and stare at it for an hour and then come up with something. Yeah, I'll come up with something. That's definitely going to work better than what I had it though. Then the method I had was not going to work. That one will. It's just a matter of containing this. I think I can do that. I think I can do that quite easily, actually. I'll bring you back shortly. Stay tuned. Okay, I've been standing here. I've been doing a little bit. I've got this is the base off the old pneumatic one. I'm going to use that because that's where the cutting edge is going to go on. It'll go up against here. Now, this guide on the top, I'm going to cut it off. This bit here, because it doesn't need it, and I'll trim that off because that top will be open. That bottom there will sit over the top of the bottom guide. That'll stop it from moving side to side. And I'm going to weld. I'm going to cut it out of the Biz 80, but I'm going to use the 10mm. That's 10mm. That's a bit better wearing. So I'm going to make two guides that will weld on like that. Not quite that long. Obviously, they're not going to be as long as that. No, that's not going to work, dickhead, because it's got to slide. The whole thing's got to slide up and down. That'll sit on there. That'll be fine. I just need to come up with a way of keeping it on the bottom, keeping it down like that, so it doesn't do this. I mean, the weight of it is pretty close. You know, like that weight will probably hold it down anyway, because that weighs a kilo or two. And you know, the bottom is going to be flat all the way to the end, and I'm going to leave probably 30-40 mil. So when it crushes the cans at the end, they'll fall through. Plus, when he cuts copper pipe, well, the copper pipe doesn't need to fall through, it's only the cans. The copper pipe will come off the end when it's cut on that blade there. So let me think about this for a bit longer. I've started to do a few measurements, just distances between the end of the gearbox and the end of my stroke. That's the stroke, not the carriage, that's the end of the stroke. and of course my offset from those holes in the gearbox to the centre line of that. Just so I can start making a few measurements. The plunger. I should draw a little bit bigger than that, shouldn't I? Little tiny ass bloody drawings. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to go and have some lunch and have a think about it. When I come back out, I'll see what I can come up with for guides for the side. Stay tuned. I didn't get in for lunch because I've just come up with the idea what I'm going to do. Let me just lift this up while winding the motor. What I'm going to do is I'll probably drill and tap, or even just weld a spigot on there. So I'll have a square spigot, and I've just got to mill a slot in that bottom plate and then put a keeper plate on the bottom that'll drill and tap, and so it'll slide backwards and forwards along the plate. That'll do it. That's the job. There it is. That's just to stop this thing lifting and moving. So that'll do it. Now I'm going to go and have some lunch. Righto, I've machined that. That's our locator. You see flats. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it up in the mill, mark that, drill it, put that in, and then weld it just on both ends. And then drill and tap 2 holes. Sorry. Watch what I'm recording, not what I'm looking at. 2 holes there, so I'll put 2 M6 bolts in there, and there'll be a plate that go across there that will keep it from tipping this way. So yeah, I'm gonna just, I know I'm not filming a lot today, but I'm trying to get my head around a few things. So, but I've got that's 15mm drill bit. That's 15mm, so I'm just going to drill that so it sits in there and weld it in. Stay tuned. All right, there we go. I think that's going to do me for the day. Weld it in. Welds, it's not too bad. And I've machined it so it's parallel with the sides. Skimmed it, drilled and tapped it. So that's going to do me for the day. Tomorrow when I come out I'm going to start building the framework, because I've got this all done now. So yeah, that'll go on there. That'll be the runner. That'll stop it, and I'll actually probably make another plate. Actually, I'll do the bottom first because I'm going to have to cut a slot in it, mill a slot. And I'll make the bottom plate because I can make it the right length, the slot, and then I can just cut the rest of it down to suit if I need to. So yeah, hey, that'll be alright. That's actually, it's not screwed, but I've got 6mm bar, and now I've made that 10mm. But that doesn't matter. I can machine the keeper for it, so it sits down over. That'll be fine. That's not a problem at all. So there we go. I'm glad I got that sorted today. Got that, a lot of that worked out. Because I was a bit worried about that, because like I said, it hit me the other night while I was laying in bed because I couldn't sleep, and I thought about it. And I thought, that's not going to work. It will not work. I mean, I could make it work, but it's going to be way too complicated and way too long. You know, as it is now, I can make that thing's going to be less than that table. So that table's 900, and the space I've got is 970. I can make it a lot less than that, so I'll probably make it about 800 wide. And I'm going to make it a total of 800 high, but I'm going to buy a couple of gas struts and make it so that you can unlatch it and let it come up. So those 200 kilonewton gas struts, I had a look online. I think this is their lift, something like 15 kilos, something like that. 2 of those struts will lift that easy. But anyway, I'll work it out once I've got it all done, all the top frame, and then I'll weigh it. So, But that's it for the day, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Actually, I might do tomorrow's as well before I upload this, so I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Righto, I've popped back out here. I wasn't going to come out today. It's after lunch. Well, about 12:30. I wasn't doing that because I wasn't feeling all that crash hot this morning because Typhoid Mary, or otherwise known as my wife, has been carrying around a rather nasty cold, and I wasn't feeling real good this morning. So, but with lots of drugs and 2 hours sleep on the recliner, I don't feel too bad. So I might come out and do a little bit so I'll get this video done. I was having a thought. This is not going to work quite the way I want it. So what I'm going to have to do is, because I need the side closed in. Alright, so when you drop a can in, it's not going to fly out the side. But I need a cutting edge on this side. This side I was going to use that bottom to guide it along the plate, but I can't. Well, I probably could. Just make the bottom carriage wider, but I might get rid of that and bolt that on. Well, I still don't know. I might use that one because it's got the big cutout there for the pipe, like to help cut the pipe. And I might make the thing wider, so I'll have to chop that bottom off so it sits flat, because this is going to guide it, right? I don't really need anything on the sides, on the bottom, to stop it moving from side to side, because that's what that's going to do. And I might even make the clamp I make for it, I might make the foot longer so it comes out wide and longer and sits down in the slot with this. So that's going to give it a whole lot more sideways protection. Yeah, and then down the end, down the crushing pad, which will be this bit, because that's the holes for the other blade. When it gets to about there, there'll be a hole here, or a slot, so you feed the pipe through, because I want to feed up to at least minimum of 3/4 inch. And sort of, you know, put bundles of copper wire and everything through it, so so I can make it so that you can feed everything through here, and it'll the crush is not quite so important, because I mean, even though I've got to set it for the cans, the pipe itself, because it's going to be cutting the pipe, you know, about that long, you know, 25 mil, roughly 20 to 25 mil. It's going to crush the pipe just in the act of cutting it. So, so that'll make that a little bit easier. Also, I've got my capacitor, so I can actually I can try and run that, which I might do this afternoon. Just test out. I haven't got a lead I can use. Oh yes, I have. Look at that. Here we go. I'll use that, so I don't have to cut up a brand new lead. I was going to take a piece out of that red one. It's a brand new lead. Yeah, and I might just test the function of that first, and then start just fiddling with little bits and pieces today. Yeah, I think just to proof it. Like I said, just a little bit more fiddling around with this bottom part, which is fine. I don't mind having to fiddle as long as I get it right. I don't have to do like I've been doing and get 2/3 of the way through it and then all of a sudden think, shit, that doesn't work, I've got to redesign it. I don't want to do that anymore. I've done enough of that. So, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll go and get that capacitor, and we'll have a look at that. Hang on a sec. Righto, now I've done a bit of research and I've looked online. That's all, that's nothing, that's disconnected. I've got it connected. Like electricians, if any watch this, will probably shit themselves looking at this, but I have no bridge, so I just use some heavy duty copper to bridge the bottom. Oops, sorry, I don't know if you see that. And hooked my capacitor up the way it's supposed to. So let's see what happens when I turn it on. No sparks, no fire. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Now that's going in the direction I want it. Although not as fast as I want it, so... But I said I only hooked that up really to test its functionality. So once I get all the bits made, when it comes towards the end to actually test it, then I will buy the 3-phase converter. Because that's supposed to be 59 RPM. But see, you're 1/3 of your actual speed. Wait, hold on. Whoa! There we go. Something wasn't fucking kosher in there, was it? But it just let go. So that's a little bit better. Maybe it was gummed up. It might have been a bit gummy. Hang on. I'll bring it back in a sec. I'm just going to take this off. Right, I took it off. Let's try again, eh? Oh, wrong one, dickhead. It could be a bit gummy. Because this has been sitting for a long time. I mean, I need to do an oil change. See, because it goes like that, and then all of a sudden it speeds up. See? There we go. I'll just let it run for a little while. That's roughly what it's supposed to be doing. So it could be in here. I might drain that, change the oil. Yeah, it's a little bit slow to start, wasn't it? I was a little bit worried about it. I thought they've sold me a fucking Brumby. But that's going like it's supposed to. I'll let that run for a few minutes and I'll bring it back. Right, I've run that for 5 minutes. The motor's actually warmed a little bit. It's warm. I don't know whether it should be that warm, but anyway. But when I start it now, see, there's that little slow kick. I'm thinking this capacitor's not big enough because some of the shit that I looked at online, they said, you know, like for 1.1 kilowatt was 10 microfarad, but that's wrong. It's 70 microfarad per kilowatt. So, you know, this is 0.75. So there should be at least 30 or 40 microfarad. That'd be why that's slow, because that capacitor is for its start current, apparently. So, but I'm pretty happy with that. Now we have movement. And I think that's going to be pretty powerful. I don't know whether it's going to be powerful enough just on 240. Yeah, like you said, you do lose power. So, and before I do a whole lot with it, I'm going to, like I said, change the oil. I might even pull it apart, check the oil seal in the motor. Because I know these SCW drives have got a habit of cracking the motor seal. So there's no smoke coming out. It's only just warm, just. Gearbox is cold. There's nothing in the neck of it. Just hang on a sec. All right, sorry about that. Mother rang, and I had to answer. While I was on the phone talking, don't worry about that. I decided to screw this off. There is not a skerrick of oil in this gearbox. That could be why it was a bit doughy, a bit sticky. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, not a drop, if I stick that in there, there's a little bit just sitting in the bottom, see that? And that's pretty heavy shit too by the looks of that. That's not standard gear oil, that's very heavy gear oil. I know, because I've worked on these things in the past. So what I'm going to do, I'll bring you back in a second, I'm just going to unbolt this motor, take this motor off the gearbox. Just hang about for 1 second. Righto, I've got that out. That looks okay. There's low on oil, and I think there was a little bit of oil in the motor, but I'm thinking the way this thing was operating, I mean, there's no residue on the back of the motor, which is a good sign. That this thing might have been running upwards like hanging down. The motor sitting in the position it is. We're going to be sitting it in the position it's sitting now, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cover it up now. I'm not going to do any more today. And I'm going to bolt it all back up. Luckily that gasket stayed good, so I just put a little bit of silicone on that when I put it back together. And top it up with some fresh oil. I've got some gear oil up here. SA90. Not a whole lot there, but I'll get some more. I think I've got some more here somewhere, in amongst all this shit. This crap that I've got floating around in here. Is that oil, gear oil, or is that brake fluid? ATF, transmission fluid. I don't want that, gear oil. So, 2-stroke oil. Yeah, so I just got to get a little bit more oil. That's alright, the gear oil's not very expensive. I'll just use diff oil, that's all it needs. For the work this will be doing, I'll use diff oil, 98. I think the stuff they put in it varies between 120 and 240. So depending on the sort of the workload, how hot they get, the weather environment they're working in. But that'll be fine. That 90 weight will be perfect. It'll be nice and like it'll just help. I'm thinking about just taking the end off that motor as well. I mean, it's not going to hurt it. Just to test it, to check it. Just check the internals. That might be the best idea too. I think tomorrow when I come out. Before I do anything else with this, before I build anything else, I'm going to get this unit sorted. So I'll take the back end off that motor. So I'll do a little bit of video of that tomorrow. And just pull the motor off, the stator off, and just clean it and check it. I mean, if there's a bit of oil in it, then I can use some, I've got some cleaner here. If not, I'll have to go and buy some. I do have, I've got brake cleaner in here, but I think I've used that fixing the clock inside. But anyway, I'll give it a clean, a rinse through, and get it sorted, get it all back together, and get it running, tested, and then we should be able to go full steam ahead then with the build. I'm pretty impressed now with the way that's running. I think the reason why it was doughy is because it's been sitting for a long time. It might have been a bit gummy, but even while I was talking, before I undid the motor, I noticed this here turned an awful lot easier. So I want to check the motor, so we'll do that tomorrow. Thanks for hanging around, and until next time, as usual, stay safe. Peace.
I couldn't find Until Next Time as usual in your Apple Music library. You can ask me to play a radio station, or ask for your music on a different app.
Go away, Siri. Pain in the ass. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't help myself. Because it's only 4 bolts, they're pretty easy to get out, but I think I found the problem. There's oil in there. And there's a bit that ran out when I took the back cover off. I'm just going to sit like that to drain as much as I can out till tomorrow. And that bearing doesn't feel crash hot. Well, it's got no cover on it. The only issue is I've got to get that bastard off because I'm going to change that seal now. So I might actually take that state. Hang on 2 seconds. Alright, I pulled that out, and as you can see, it's slick with oil. I'd say that's why it was sticking, why it was doughy to start with. I'm going to have to go into town. I'm going to see if I can go in and buy myself a little gear puller to pull that out. I mean, I might be able to get it off, but I don't want to risk damaging it. I can get it off, but without using the press. I have a press, you dickhead. Well, there we go. Well, I've got to get something in behind here. I don't have anything that'll go in behind there to press that off. But sometimes you can, if I get that circlip out of the back there, take that circlip out, and I can tap it back through, sit that in the vise, and tap it. Sometimes they will come out with a little bit of you know, if you worry it out. But now I really am going to do that tomorrow. Now I don't want to do it today. It's too late. It's, what time is it? 25 past 2. Not that it's that late, but I just don't want to get into it any more today. So yeah, but I mean, everything works fine. So once this is cleaned out, I'll clean it out nice, get all the oil out of it, clean all this out, put this gooby shit in there. It's coming out of that bearing. It's, yeah, no, that bearing's got to be replaced. See it? I mean, for what we're doing, it'd probably be fine if I just packed a little bit of grease in it and put it back in. And that may well be the case. I'll just see. I've got to get this out, so I'll get that neck seal out. They're not expensive, only a few dollars. It's just a pain in the ass getting it out, but I will do that tomorrow. I'm going to come out tomorrow, clean up again, and I might solve this, get this all sorted tomorrow before I do anything else. That way I know my quantity. Then I know that's fine. Everything works. It'll be oiled. The seals will be fine. Everything will be fine. So that's what I will do. I'll come out tomorrow and I'll work on getting this sorted, and then get it back together. Then I can start building, start making shit. So, and if we're lucky, we might even have enough force with single phase for this to work. We'll have to wait and see. Alright, anyway, once again, as usual, oh shit, I'm out of Pepsi. As usual, thanks for hanging around. Stay safe. Peace.